Hi, this is Bill Carmody, and this chapter talks about how composers select the chords that they're going to use in their music. Chord progressions are a series of chords that are goal-oriented, that have pulling tendencies from one chord to the next. And the root progressions that have the strongest pull and the most useful progressions are called circle progressions because they follow the circle of fifths counterclockwise. So a C chord can pull to an F chord, an F chord to a B flat, and B flat to E flat, etc., etc. If you follow the circle of fifths all the way around, just add a seventh to every chord. So a C7 goes to F, an F7 is a 5 of B flat, a B flat 7 goes to E flat, etc. You will go through the entire series of all the keys that are in the circle. If you don't want to do that, if you want to stay in one key and still have the root progressions go down a fifth, then you can follow a diatonic progression. C to F, in this case we're in the key of C, C to F, and then F. If we went down a fifth, it would go to B flat, which is out of the key of C. So instead we go to the B that is in the key of C, a B diminished, and that's a 5 of E, and the E is a 5 of A, and an A is a 5 of D, and a D is a 5 of G, and a G is a 5 of C, and we get back to where we started. In real life, composers will mix diatonic and chromatic circle progressions. In macro analysis, we use a curved line to connect roots of the chords that are a fifth apart, so that go down a fifth. So a B chord is the fifth of an E chord, and an E chord is the fifth of an A chord, etc. The circle progressions that go down a fifth are the strongest pulling progressions. But the other progressions that are an alternative to circle progressions that still have some pulling tendencies are leading tone progressions, which go up or down a half step, and they're marked with a dotted curved line, or a tritone progression, which is also marked with a dotted curved line. It goes down a fifth, but not a perfect fifth. So in this example, the C goes to an F sharp diminished. C to F would be down a fifth, perfect fifth. C to F sharp is down a diminished fifth, so it's a tritone away and gets a dotted curved line. To relieve from the constant series of circle progressions, you use chord successions. These are chords that just follow each other, and any chord can follow any chord. The anti-circle progressions, successions, go up a fifth. So 1 to a 5. So a C to a G is an anti-circle progression, where G to a C is a circle progression. Stepwise motion, where the roots of the chords move by step, a whole step. So, and you see that a lot, like a 1-4-5-1. Well, 4 to 5 is a stepwise progression, or 1-2-5-1, 1 to 2 is a stepwise progression, and then those are usually followed by circle progressions. So 1 to 2 is a stepwise, but then 2 to 5 is a circle progression, and 5 to 1 is a circle progression. The third type of chord succession are roots that are a third apart, up or down a third, usually down, and like a 1 chord to a 6 chord, or a 6 chord to a 4 chord, 4 chord to 2 chord. These are also called substitute chords because they have two common tones, and really they're subtle changes. They're hardly a chord progression at all. They're the weakest progression because there's very little change. 2 of the 3 notes stay the same, only 1 of the 3 notes changes. They'll use these substitute chords, these thirds progressions, to prolong or extend of a progression. So instead of going 1-5-1, maybe you want to go 1-4-5-1, but I want to stretch out that middle part, so 1 to 6 is a third progression, 6 to 4 is a third progression, 4 to 2 is a third progression, and once I'm at 2, then I can do a circle progression to get to 5 and then to 1. So you can stick those little chords in there to prolong any progression that you're working on. There are 3 chord functions: tonic type chords, predominant type chords, and dominant type chords, and each of these functions has 2 examples, and the 2 examples in each one are also substitute chords. They're a third apart from each other. So the tonic type chords are the most stable. They're what you have when you get to the end of the song or end of an authentic cadence. 1 and 6 are the 2 chords in a tonic type. The predominant chords are a little less stable, and they are the 4 chord or 2 chords. So a lot of times you see 1 4 5 1 or 1 2 5 1. And the dominant type chords, a 5 7 chord or a diminished 7 chord, 7 chord, is the least stable, and they have a tritone in there, and that's what makes it unstable. And the 5 7 and the 7 chord actually have 3 common tones, so they are good substitutes. You can interchange them at will. Harmonic rhythm is how we call how long a chord is being held. So if a chord is held for 2 beats, then we say that it has a harmonic rhythm of a half note. And typically chorales, church chorales and Bach chorales and things like that, have a short harmonic rhythm. You change chords for every beat. Excuse me. And popular music will tend to have much longer harmonic rhythm. You hold a chord for a whole measure or several measures. When they do change, with popular, when you have a longer harmonic rhythm, they do change on the downbeat, because that keeps us knowing what meter we're in. A very common progression that has a long harmonic rhythm is the blues progression. And this is a progression that every musician should know. You should be able to play the blues progression in any key. And the basic progression is you use a 1 chord for 4 measures, and then a 4 chord for 2 measures, a 1 chord for 2 measures, and then a 5 chord for 1 measure, a 4 chord for 1 measure, and then a 1 chord for 2 measures, unless you're going to do it again, which we do over and over and over again, in which case measure 12 is a 5 7 chord, and that'll take us back to the 1 chord. The sevenths that are in this example, every chord can be a 7th chord, and so it just adds to the bluesy quality of the music. When you harmonize a melody, you want to pick notes, chords that the melody fits with. So the melody note should be part of the chord, at least on the first beat of each measure, because those are the strongest beats. And to harmonize a melody, you need to know where you're going. So start at the cadence, which is either going to be a 5 chord or an authentic cadence 5 to 1, and then work backwards. What chord do I want before this chord, and what chord do I want before that chord, and what chord do I want before that? So that way you can build up the circle progressions that will lead to the cadences. Here's a sample quiz, and you should be able to list the chord progressions for 12-bar blues in any key. So if I said give a chord blues progression in the key of B flat, you would have B flat for 4 measures, and then you'd have a 4 chord, which is E flat chord for 2 measures, etc. And like that. So if there are any questions, then feel free to bring them up or review the slides in here, and also don't forget your textbook. Good luck. Bye-bye.